All right, welcome to the UORadio TalkShow, episode number 22 on January 14, 2006, the place where we take all your gripes, questions, and concerns to the masses. So I want to thank you all for tuning in to our UORadio TalkShow, the place in which we was talking about a little bit earlier here on the show, before the show began, and we was talking about the show of mystery. And the reason we say that and everything is because all the panel guests here with me today have absolutely no idea what we're going to be talking about for the topics of the show, and it's just kind of like one of those shows where you just go in there and you ask people for their feedback on whatever is being talked about during the show, and you're like, well, you know, what do you think about it? And they never have any idea as to what's going to be said here on your radio talk show. So I want to go ahead and introduce all the special guests with me today. Some of the people here you might already know, and some of the people you may not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here, give each and every one of our guests here a chance to introduce themselves to you, so that way you, the listeners out there, can put a voice with a name. So starting with DJ Deadeye, who I'm sure you all are very familiar with, is from Sonoma. So go ahead and say hello to everybody out there, Deadeye.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm glad you could make it for our talk show today here on UO Radio. See, you thought you got rid of me a while ago, but I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah, we just can't get rid of Deadeye, you know. But then again, we need him around here to keep the station running and everything. So thank you, Deadeye, for all the great things you do for the radio station. And let's see, we have DJ Azric here from Sonoma as well. And so go ahead and say hello.
Hello.
All right, and that's a little short hello from Azric, and thank you for that. And, of course, we have Kristen from the UK, so which plays on Europa, by the way. So go ahead and say hello from the UK.
Hello, everybody. DJ Cresham. Yes, DJ Deadeye is actually part of the furniture now.
Yeah, he's just sitting over there collecting dust now. But yeah, you know, every now and then we shake the dust off him and everything. So you know, it's good having him around. He's like antique furniture that you have to put some pledge on every now and then.
Got your antique too.
And so next person we have here is Tanya or Tanya. You know, I say tomato, she says tomato, you know, your choice. But she's from Europa as well, and also from the UK. So go ahead and say hello.
Hey, this is DJ Tanya. Just want to let everybody know to join us in IRC so that you can also join in with the talk show and let us know your opinions on whatever Viceroy has planned for us to discuss.
Yep. And not even she knows. She was actually asking, what are the topics? I'm like, we'll just have to see whenever we get there now, won't we? Yeah, mystery. I'm Mystery Man. That's yeah, I think that's going to be my new nick. So let's see. We also have a special guest here with us today who's not a DJ or a staff member here at Yo Radio, at least not as yet. He is considering a position, though. So I want to go ahead and introduce you guys to Tesseract, who's going to be a guest with us, who is a player of Ultima Online. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you are from Great Lakes. Is that right?
That is correct. And hello, everybody, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to join in today. I look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you for being here with us today. It's always a great pleasure having you with us, and, you know, anybody out there who's always a special guest. We're always glad to have new people here on the radio show to get a different perspective from a different angle of the game, I would suppose. So let's go ahead and get started here, and let me adjust my microphone right now. Let's go ahead and just dive right into the questions here, and I want to start off by asking you what you guys think about the let's see, which one do I want to start with? What do you guys think about players not being able to purchase your ML from the EA store? And why not allow players the ability to enter coupon discount codes over on yogamecodes.com? And in addition to that, let me ask you another question as to what you guys think about, why do you think they do not sell 30-day game time codes on YoGameCodes.com? Now, I don't know how many of you guys out there have purchased these game codes and everything, so I guess we'll start with that question right there. Why do you think they don't allow the 30-day game time codes on YoGameCodes.com? I mean, do you guys have any idea as to why they might exclude that from all the other game time codes? Because, I mean, you have the YoML upgrade codes, you have the, let's see, the 90-day codes, you have the YoML new account codes, you have, let's see, what else? You have, I'm not sure what else they have, but I think they're also going to be putting up the character name chain tokens up here pretty soon, probably sometime later on this month. I think we're also looking at some sex change tokens coming up that way over on the website. So I'm kind of curious as to why you guys think maybe, why not, they don't put 30 days codes up there. So starting with Azric, let's go ahead and start with you.
The other thing I can think of where they would block the sale of 30-day game time codes is that for a time there was a rash of stolen credit card purchases, and they're the easiest game codes to sell. Everybody like, yeah, cover them up for 30 days, no problem. You know, pulled out of the bank, whatever. The stacks of checks some houses have. So I think UOEA just stopped the sale of the 30-day codes to discourage the credit card thieves. Now, the 90-day codes are significantly more expensive. They won't move as fast. And by the time those codes are purchased with stolen credit cards, by the time you get to sell it, the charge is going to be reversed and the code's been declared invalid. So that actually gives them more time since they take longer to sell.
That's actually a very good point. I've never actually looked at it that way. I've always looked at it the other way, you know, from the perspective, hey, you know, the 90 days are a lot more valuable than the 30 days. So, I mean, if they're stolen, they're going to be dirt cheap anyhow. I mean, because think about it, if it's stolen, you're going to be selling them for whatever you can pretty much get for them, get away with. I mean, that's how I look at it, you know, greater value. And you're going to, you know, anybody that's in the black market business is going to, of course, be selling them far, far cheaper than what they really are worth. Go ahead, Crescent.
I use time codes myself. Like, the time codes I get is actually cheaper in the UK on your market sort of thing, on our poundage, as they say, because they're at the moment they're at 20 quid for 90 days, which is very cheap, because normally a 30-day one is actually 10 quid. So you get 2 months for basically for price of 2 sort of thing. So you're getting 3 months for a price of 2, which is quite good, really. The only thing where you could get them from is markq.com, markqdragons.com. He does gold and stuff like that. He does time codes as well. Or there's another one as well, is UOCodes.com. They're quite good. Only thing they don't do is PayPal, which is quite a thing now. But there you go. Anyway, I think that's all. The only thing I'm looking for at the moment is Soulstones codes as well. Can't get them anywhere.
Wow. I'm glad to hear that you give me a little nice plug right there. But it's marqueedragon.com that he's referring to. And yes, it's probably 20 quid, which is 20 British pounds, which has the equivalent of $2 American for every quid, if I'm not mistaken. So it's about roughly the same. So for all you people out there saying, hey, that's no fair, well, really, it's the same whenever you do the exchange rate on that. So let's see, what else do we have here? We have Tesseract, so go ahead.
Well, I guess that what I think, and call me a cynic, but doesn't UO, they only have to give 90 days notice in order to shut down the game. So that's why I think it's much easier to say, hey, we can do that, purchase a 90-day code, 90 days later, they can shut it down and just balance out that way, and that'll eat up whatever amount of time's left over for additional revenue. I guess that's the
that's
side of me. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
And you know what's funny is that, you know, the whole thing is that you can still purchase the 30-day game time codes and everything, but you can actually only do, let's see, you can only do it through PayPal, and if I'm not mistaken, you can do it over the phone as well if you want to do the 30-day game time purchases and stuff like that. So what I can understand is why only make it available through PayPal, and over the phone rather than, off of a website such as UOGamecodes.com. I mean, after all, if I'm not mistaken, UOGamecodes is like the official game code outlet for Electronic Arts. I'm not sure if it's a third party that's actually running this website, but I do know it has its official approval of seal or whatever you want to call it. But go ahead, Crescent.
Yeah, just one thing I'd like to ask for everybody out there. Is euroscodes.com going to PayPal instead of gold transactions? Because what it is all right having gold, but if you can't get on your game to get the code, you can't get the code to get it, sort of thing. So the only way you could do it is by PayPal. Will they be doing it by PayPal at all in the future?
And what's the website again? Eurocodes.com? Is that what you said?
Yeah, because they're at the moment, they're gold transactions at the moment. I just want to know if they're doing a real life money sort of thing for the codes. It's just in case, for instance, if you can't get on to get the gold at your bank, and you're basically stuck, sort of thing.
Yeah, see, I kind of have people in the same situation as you, that you're describing right here. And what I usually tell these people whenever they run in this kind of situation where the game time has expired and they are looking for a game time code so they can get back into the game, but they can't get in the game to get the gold. So what I say, what I usually recommend to these folks and everything that, come to me with this problem, I say, well, hey, look, don't you have any friends in Ultima Online that can maybe put up the gold for you? And they either tell me yes or no. If the answer is yes, if they have a friend that can put up the gold for them, as a loan or whatever until they can get back in the game and repay them, I usually have their friend pay me. So that way, I can go ahead and give them their code, and then once they get their account back up and running, they can then, repay their friend whatever they owe them. That's what I do and everything, because then that guarantees me that, I get my gold or whatever I want for my codes, in which I'm selling over at eurocodes.com, which you mentioned earlier here. And, I mean, that's the only solution I have for people that are in those types of situations. But, really, it's really up to the player's responsibility to make sure that they don't run out of game time if they're going to be going that option where they're paying gold for Yo codes. I mean, that's what I usually do. I don't know if codes.com is actually considering doing something like that in the future, but hey, that's some advice for them if they are looking to do that. So let's see what was my next question here. We're going to actually move along. And so I'm kind of wondering whether or not do you think EA Store should allow people, to purchase UOML off their store? I mean, because as you know, if you go over there, I think it's Samurai Empire that you can buy on there. I'm not really sure about that. I haven't actually looked there. But I've actually seen somebody complaining about the fact that, whenever they go to the EA Store, they don't see UOML available for purchase over there. So what do? They go over to, I guess, I'm not sure exactly what this person's looking for, but, the fact that they can even go over to EA Store, and think about this for a minute, EA Store, this is a place where you go and find EA products to purchase. And, I mean, if UOML is not up there for purchase, doesn't that look like, as if EA is not standing behind their product? Say, for example, not, saying, hey, look, this is one of our products. We're looking to sell this game. We're looking to promote it. Hopefully get more more revenues coming in from this game and so forth. Yet you don't see it for sale anywhere up there. I'm actually kind of curious if you can find The Sims Online on the EA Store. So, I mean, if any of you guys here listening, maybe Tezerax or somebody here, can look on the EA Store real quick and maybe do a little search and see if The Sims Online comes up there or if UOML comes up there. Or, for that matter, see if you can find, maybe another expansion of Ultima Online up there that's available for purchase. I mean, could that be great to know whether or not you can purchase any other online game out there, such as The Sims Online, or because if that's the case, then you have to wonder why isn't UOML up there. So, If any of you guys could look that up real quick, that'd be greatly appreciated. But right now, we're going to go over to Deadeye. Go ahead, Deadeye.
Well, Viceroy, that could be because Samurai Empire was the last expansion that came pretty much primarily in CD form. You know, Mondane's Legacy was primarily for download. You know, everybody got it and you activated it and that kind of thing. But that may be why they have it up on there, because I think people, when they go to the EA store, they probably want to get something in a box. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's understandable. But then again, you do have the last box version, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the 8th Age, in which was the last boxed version on any shelves in stores and everything. So I'm not sure if that's the case or not. However, I do know that, for example, if it isn't the 8th Age, it has to be UO Gold. So it's one of those two. I do know that much. So let's go to our next person here, and it's Tesseract. Go ahead.
Well, I just went there and looked around, and of course it's not there. And I think it probably does have to do with, which Deadeye mentioned, is you don't get anything for it. I mean, when you originally purchase a game and you actually connect, you get all the content downloaded through those humongous patches. So the only thing you purchase is just a code, and I don't know if you just can't buy codes on the EA store. So it's probably just a business decision, and you know how marketing works. But you can't buy the
well,
Sims,
you know,
you can't.
Okay, The Sims Online or The Sims?
The new and
you know which one?
The Sims Online, right there, PC available. PC available.
Okay, well, see, and answer me this: do you see any game time codes available for purchase on the EA Store website or not?
No.
No. Okay, you don't see that? Okay, last I recall, I think there was 90-day game time codes at one point in time that was up there for sale, but the thing is, they actually sent you that intangible form. So, I mean, here's the problem I have. If I'm not mistaken, they still have 90-day game time codes up there somewhere for purchase. And the way they do this, you purchase it, they send it to you, and it's on one of these game time cards. You know, one of these game time code cards. And basically, you know, what I can understand, if they can do this for a 90-day game time code, why can't they do this for a 30-day game time code? Why can't they do this for UOML upgrade code or anything else of that nature? I mean, why is it not up there available for purchase? Because, I mean, I have a person here, over here on the U-Haul boards, who is looking to use this coupon discount code of theirs in which they received, I guess, either from a fellow family member, because we did have Christmas just a little while back. You know, you purchase these gift cards or whatever for your family or something of that nature, and maybe that's the situation here. But they cannot go to the EA store and purchase a product in which is owned and operated by Electronic Arts and use this discount code because there's nowhere available. You know, the product is nowhere on the website for them to purchase in the first place. So that's my argument here today. And, you know, if they got to go to UOGamecodes.com to purchase this upgrade code, then why not give them the ability to enter in this coupon discount code in which they can actually use it, you know, rather than letting it go to waste? Because if I'm not mistaken, this person on the U-Haul boards was complaining that they're about to run out of time to where they can't no longer use this coupon discount code to make a purchase. And what they're really looking to purchase is this UOML upgrade code. So going back to Tesseract here, maybe we can get a little bit more information about that. So tell me, what did you find out? Did you find anything?
Well, I found absolutely nothing on there regarding game codes at all, in general. But to the point on, you know, getting anything physical, I think it all comes down to something physical. They get nothing. All you get is an email stating XYZ, this is your code. And there's no real proof that you actually got it. If someone else got it, wrong email account. So I think it all comes down to the fact that the EA store, which is probably a third-party company who's managing it, is unable to actually have a physical inventory of these codes except that are in a database. And that's probably what it all comes down to in itself. And you skipped, you know, Crescent. I just want to make sure you know that. So then, you know, let's go to him. So
yeah.
Then, you know.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that is, I do know at one point in time they did sell it in actual physical, you know, tangible game time codes. I don't know if they still do that any longer, but if they don't, I would like to have some kind of official response saying, hey, look, we no longer support the game time codes in physical, tangible, type situations or format or whatever they want to say it, however words they want to put it in. But go ahead, Crescent, what do you have to say about that?
Quite a lot of things, really. One thing, we cannot get any box sets in the UK, not in our local stores or anywhere. But we can't get them by shipping them over, because A, they cost such a bomb to ship them over, it is no point of shipping them over. And as you say, as Trizinik there said, you don't know if you're getting a genuine code or not off Marquee Dragons or any other third-party stores at all like that. Basically, we can't get things like online games at all. Basically, UO, Sims, anything like that.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny to me that they'll sell The Sims Online, on EA Store. And Tezrek, did you by any chance see any other expansion for Ultima Online out there? Whether it be, EO Modane's Legacy or not, or whether it be Samurai Empire, whether it be Ages of Shadow, which we touched on last week. Did you see anything else that was even Ultima Online related, on the EA Store? I'm kind of curious about that, but in the meantime, we'll go go to our next topic here, I guess I've already made that.
I have here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Right now you just do a quick search for Ultima Online, and they have Samurai Empires up there, $29.95, and you could also, if you really really need it, you could get Blackthorn's Revenge official strategy guide if you want, and it's only $15.
Wow. Yes, that's kind of, if they're going to have a strategy guy up there, they might want to have something that's new and relevant. Same thing with the expansion. I mean, we've had 8th Age, which you should be able to purchase from the EA Store. The fact that you can't purchase it from the EA Store, I mean, if they're going to have anything up there, they probably should have, and at least the 8th Age up there, or Yo Gold up there on the website. But if I'm not mistaken, I think the Yo Gold was a promotional agreement or something like that with just exclusively with Walmart's or something of that nature. So maybe Walmart's is the only place that sells Yo Gold. However, I would say, if anything at all, they probably need to put 8th Age up there rather than Samurai Empire, because that's more recent and relevant, and then the Samurai Empire. These are little aspects of the market or the store, how EA, where I think EA's dropped the ball. I think, EA needs to, catch up on some of this stuff and look at some of this stuff in order to effectively market the game in a reasonable manner. And I think that's where, let's think about it. Marketing team has a lot of great ideas for how to, make more money off of the existing customers. But, are they really doing a great job in terms of, giving the most relevant product out there, or the most recent product, for the game in which they're trying to sell? And in my opinion, they haven't quite done that. They haven't lived up to those expectations. And, because if we're selling old products, who wants old products? You buy say, for example, Samurai Empire, and you find out, hey, there's Modane's Legacy. Why can I not go to EA Store, which is the EA official store for Electronic Arts, and purchase the most recent expansion? I just can't for the life of me figure that one out. If there's something holding them back from selling that on their store, then why not put the 8th Age up there? Simple as that. Go ahead, Deadeye.
Well, I think you're going to see more of this kind of thing where it looks like, their approach to marketing things related to UO and in that particular area of their market. I think you're going to see more of it where it looks like there's a lot of slack in what they're doing. The reason being, we were talking about a lot of this stuff the other night. As you know, I went out on the net looking for EA's annual reports. You find all kind of interesting things in the company's annual report. And what they were talking about in terms of the the market that they're working in terms of the MMOGs and what they refer to as persistent state world type games. Actually, UO is the winner. That's the one that they say, state in their annual report, that UO has definitely been successful. But everything else they've tried in that area, be it Earth and Beyond and the Sims Online, has been expectations have been far less than expected. So it just really, that type of game, other than UO was a shining success. And it's still working for them. You know, they're still making money off the thing, but we're the only one that's went out so far. So I think we're going to see less of an emphasis in that area because their attempts to move into that, you know, they kind of pioneered, or they didn't really pioneer it. I guess Richard Garrett and people at Origin and all that, you know, that was kind of the pioneering thing. But their further attempts into that type of game have been somewhat have been kind of a flop. So you know, that might generate a bit of a lack of interest on their part.
Yeah, so, you know, going back to my argument and everything, here we are, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are seeing the most recent expansion for maybe the Sims Online available for purchase over on the EA Store, but we are not seeing the most recent box version available on EA Store. And this will go back to my little argument last week about how you can go to the UO.com website and you click on the visitor center and you see Ages of Shadow. You know, and I have a little bit of a problem with that because since then we've had, we have had Samurai Empire since then. We've had, UO Gold. We've had UO Modane's Legacy. We've had the 8th Age since then. So, I mean, at least put the 8th Age up there if you're going to put anything at all, or even a Modane's Legacy, you know, something of that nature. Yank down the stupid, the thing up there where it's saying Samurai Empire. You don't want to buy something that's old. We're talking about an expansion that is at least a year or two old. I mean, I don't want to buy it. I mean, anyways, I'll get off that one. Crescent, go ahead.
Yeah, when I got my first box set, which was the UO, which it was a 7th anniversary, it took me 2 months to receive it from EA itself because it was coming from America. But it's well worth the wait, like sort of thing. But nowadays, changing it up and doing all these updates on Mondanes and stuff like that, like in the 8th Age, like, you know, it's out of date now. But got a free Malice Math out from it, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I can't really so sympathize with you because you are overseas. I mean, it's gonna, in a way, I do sympathize with you on the fact that it takes you that long to get a box. But the fact that you're overseas, all the way over in the UK, across the pond, as they say, it's really, there's not really too many things I think you can really do about that. But it's always been, to my knowledge, that Europe always, receives expansion in box versions of anything, always at a later date than the Americans. Just like the Japanese are usually the first ones to get it. Usually when it comes to other games for, for example, if it's made in Japan, it's usually the Japanese get it first and the Americans get it second, and I guess Europeans always get it last for some odd reason. Sometimes it's the other way around. The Japanese get it first, the Europeans get it second, and the Americans get it last. I don't really know how to put it, but it's just one of those things that are really out of those controls because, and what really happens in those kind of cases is that it becomes distribution, and then you have to work out all these different deals with all these distribution companies around the world. And it's not like EA. I don't think EA has a world presence in they have distributors worldwide in which they got relationships with, but the fact they don't have their own distribution methods of their own, they're actually owned by EA. I guess that's where the problem comes in, is the fact that whenever it comes to Europe and Asia, they have to go through all these other distributors for their product. And it's the same thing with, for example, a little while back, I did have an interest in this one online game, which was a Japanese game. All the text in there was Japanese and everything. The only problem, the reason this game wasn't available in America was the fact that it didn't have no distributors in America or some kind of agreement or license agreement or something like that. For example, everybody, it's kind of like a franchise, when it comes to distribution. The Japanese run their, side of things differently than the American side. I'm sure the Europeans, they kind of run their things differently than the Americans. It's kind of like a franchise. Just think of it as the European franchise, the American franchise, and the Japanese franchise, or the Asian franchise, however you want to look at it. So, I mean, that's pretty much how it's done right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how it's done in the business world. So, I mean, so you have a distribution. I hope that makes it a little bit more clear for some of the people who can't understand why it might take them a little bit longer to get these newer products out to other parts of the world. And hopefully that clears some of that up. But anyways, moving along, we are going to move on to... let's see, what are we going to discuss next? We're going to be talking about discuss whether or not you think if you think UO is too easy or not, and why and how can it be made more challenging than it is currently. So the question is whether or not you think UO is too easy, because I mean, if you look on the UO.com website, it asks you the question whether or not you think UO is too easy. Do you think it is or not? And if you think it is, how can we make it more challenging? So let's see who we have here. We have Azric. Go ahead, Azric.
Honestly, I don't think UO is too easy, nor do I think it's too hard. Currently, it's presenting a good mix of easy items, such as some of the virtue quests for new players, but it's also providing a challenge for the veteran players with the Felucan champ spawns, which, of course, are a quick way to get PK'd, but I know a quicker one. At the champ spawn, spam, I just got a 120 major EPS. That'll do it. You'll see how difficult it can get suddenly, especially since the ghost cam fix with the wonderful exorcism spell doesn't really work. If you're about one screen away from the altar, it doesn't affect you, so you can still pop in and check. Also, the Peerless bosses were a nice addition. I'll have to thank the dev team for that. With the Peerless bosses, a new era of challenge came in. The only real issue there is there's long lines waiting for those Peerless boss fights. But so far, I do see EA as presenting a good mix of easy and hard items in UO to keep everyone satisfied.
All right, that's a very good point. And let's see who we have here next. Let me pull that up. We have Cressum. Go ahead, Cressum.
Yeah, I do find it very hard. I agree with Azrek there. It is a very hard game. I just went into Blood Elements in Ishtar, in the little temple there, and Paragon 1 comes up, does a Blood Oath on me. Of course, I hit it with my little sword. What happens? Knocks your health down to halfway. You know, they should really take Blood Oath off beasts nowadays, because you don't really need it. They're like Blood Elements, Ancient Worms, White Worms and stuff like that. They don't need it. They're hard enough as it is. You don't need to make them any harder than what they are now.
So you like to see them easier, huh?
Not that easy. Just it's slightly they should take that Blood Oath off. That's the worst mistake they ever did, is put the Blood Oath on it. Put Necros on, like leeches, ancient leeches. I don't know if any other shards. We've still got ancient leeches in Trzinic there, which is in that event temple. We've still got ours. But we can't get in there. When you got all four of them doing Blood Oath on you, you hit them once, you've had it. You're dead.
Yeah. Very good argument there, and, well. Okay, well, let's see. Tanya, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, just following on to what Crescent said, okay, yeah, you may be dead, but nowadays you have insurance, so being dead doesn't tend to mean a lot. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, you can't really judge UO as being easy or hard, because how can you judge if it's hard to get to the end? It depends how you play the game. Some people, like role players, for example, would find the game easy because, well, they don't need to go around killing things. You'd find, like, PVM people find the game more difficult because obviously they're fighting things and have to gain skill and whatnot, and you'd find that PvPers say it's more difficult. But overall, I think UO's a lot easier than it was when, like, I first started out. You get a lot more to start with, and also you have a lot more people around nowadays giving ridiculous amount of gold and items to new players, which does make it too easy for them. I mean, when I started out, I got given 10k, which back then was a hell of a lot. Okay, you can't imagine that now, but back then it was a hell of a lot, and it just kind of ruined it. You don't get the first experiences anymore. UO's become too easy in that sense, but it really depends how you play the game. It's not a game where it could be easy or hard because there is no finish line.
Yeah, I have to agree with you to some extent. And let's see, we have Chesrick. Go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to follow up with basically what everyone else is saying, is that, you know, when UO first started, I'm sure a lot of us remember, it was a very difficult game to play. It was hard to raise skills. It wasn't easy to raise some things. Some things were murder. And when you saw someone who was a GM blacksmith or had GM resist, it was just, you bowed down to this person because it was so impossible that they actually completed it. Nowadays, it's a lot easier. But in general, the game is a good balance between hard and not so hard. So I think that they've done a great job balancing it. But I think it came back to, I think it was Azric who said it, that, yeah, is it too easy? Well, yeah, the hardest part of the entire game now is just waiting in line to get into those peerless areas. And once it happens, you just need to be fast enough to get it done or forget it.
Yeah, very good point. And I'm going to have an argument of my own here pretty soon. And let's see, go ahead, Deadeye.
Yeah, well, I see the game, what's easy and hard is relative to the level of character you're running. I see UO is still pretty stratified as to stuff that's not so hard, a little harder and a little harder to get and everything, because you still have a situation where somebody comes up and asks you and says, okay, I'm at such and such a level at fencing or swords or archery or something like that. Turn around, what do I need to be fighting where I won't die constantly, but where I can still get some gauge? You can still answer those questions pretty well, where you can send them to do that. So, what's hard and what's not depends on the level that you're at. And but there's things out there that even the most highly developed and skillful characters are some days they're going to eat the bear, and some days the bear's going to eat them, and that's what keeps the interest in it for the people at that level. So we need that hard stuff out there, but then your intermediate player don't need to be going out there and jump on him because he's going to last about 0.68 seconds. He doesn't need to be fighting that because all he's going to do is die all the time. He's not even going to get a chance to get his skill gain. He needs to go do something else. But that's how I see UO. It's kind of stratified as to what's more difficult and whatnot. He can move to different areas, different kind of critters and stuff like that as far as what he wants to go to and get his skill gain.
Yeah. Okay, well, my argument is going to be this. Quite frankly, I think the game is too easy, and it really depends on how you look at it. Are you looking at it from an individual aspect, or are you looking at it from a group aspect? Because this is an MMO. And MMO to me means that you have to cooperate with other players to achieve something. So the question here is, I guess, that really needs to be asked, are you looking at this from an individual aspect, whether the game is easy, or too hard? Well, I guess you might say from an individual aspect, the game might be a little bit challenging. But what happens whenever you start getting in a guild, or which at some point in time I would imagine you would get in a guild, and how does that change the dynamics of the game once you're in a guild and working with other players to accomplish something? Say if you have two other people with you fighting a blood elemental, how easy is that blood elemental going to be then? Come then, it's going to be a lot easier than one person just taking on that blood elemental. So I mean, let's just think about that. So, I mean, yes, and I guess I can understand why some new players that come into the game and everything probably would say the game is too hard. Well, I'll give you one reason that I would say it would be too hard is because let's just think about how complex is the game to a new player that comes in the game and sees all these item properties on an item. That's why I'm so adamantly supportive of a pre-UOR, because even to this day I still don't even quite understand what all the item properties mean, let alone do. And we've had item properties since I think Ages of Shadow. I still haven't really quite adjusted to the item properties. Still don't know what exactly all the item properties are. And really, I hate the item properties. So, I mean, I liked it the old way, where the item properties were, like, simply eminently accurate. Wow, you actually knew what it meant, you know? You actually had a word that just defined, you know, how good a weapon was. Nowadays, you know, it's pretty much giving you all these item properties, which just boggles your mind. You're like, what the hell does this do? You know, and then on top of that, you did away with the item ID because of it. I mean, because we don't even need item ID now. So I mean, that's why I would have to say I don't like how the game has progressed. I think the game's a lot harder for a newer player. So trying to bring in a new player to a game that has all these properties, I don't think is the way to go. So, you know, that's my whole take. Are we looking at it, and I'll go back to my original statement, are we looking at it from an individual aspect, or are we looking at it from a group aspect? From an individual, yes, maybe there's still some challenging aspects to it. But from a group aspect, no. The game is entirely way too easy. So what do you do whenever you have a group of people that just gangs up on a blood elemental? Do you feel sorry for that blood elemental? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I do. I mean, because I don't think it's fair. Even though it's just an NPC or, you know, some computer-generated, you know, figure that's there that's supposedly supposed to whoop your ass, but it's not. But go ahead, Azric. I mean, sorry about that. Go ahead, Deadeye. You was before Azric. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree completely with you on the item-based thing, Vice. Back when we had basically back to our old power vanquishing weapons and different things like that, everybody was pretty much operating with a bit more of a standard set of equipment that had different levels to it, of course, but still yet everybody pretty much had the same equipment per se, so it went back to the individual character's skill. And I think that was much more interesting. You know, it was everybody was kind of leveled the playing board for everybody, and I think it is harder for the new players because in order to come in, they've got this widely item-based thing. And man, I'll tell you what, you know, there's a lot of stuff to learn. Okay, what does this property do? What does that property do? Is this level on this particular mod, is this good or is this not good or anything? You know, I continually get questions like this constantly, you know, and stuff like that. So I agree completely with you on that. You know, I think that made it more difficult to learn as far as if you're a new player, and also with some of the god-awful properties, you know, once these people learn how to put together different items and different weapons to produce different effects and stuff, and especially when you group together, it can make some things that might not be that would generally be harder and more challenging, less challenging, and less hard. So it kind of goes both ways, you know, and everything like that. But I kind of enjoyed the game more. I don't get me wrong, I still enjoy UO. Make no mistake, I still enjoy UO and everything else. But I think I enjoyed it more when it was a little more in terms of weapons, equipment, that kind of stuff. The kind of things we were using to do our thing in the game, you know, was a little bit more of a level playing field.
Right. Well, you know how we have a humane society for animals. So I think we ought to have a humane society for the monsters in the game of Ultima Online. I mean, don't some of you guys agree with me? Go ahead, Azric.
Okay, that does it. I'm making a guild with the initials PETA. People eating tasty animals. Anyway, the whole thing you mentioned about guilds. Now, I'm probably going to aggravate a few people. Okay, a lot of people listening. But I also play that other game, World of Warcraft. It's easy for the new player. We have a series of quests you can go through, get you quick up to level 10, start putting points into talents. But we still have a large deal of talent. We have players that are just incredible solo, and they still have trouble in what are known as instanced areas, such as Molten Core. Even some people have trouble in Dead Mines, which is a fairly low-level instance. But the whole point you were making about getting into a guild and all of a sudden it seems easy, I would like to see more of a challenge in UO where they do have such things where you would need a 40-man group to go take it down. There's just something about all the teamwork involved. Now, the only thing I don't like about WoW is that paladins are pretty much heal bots. If you have a heal button, you will be required to use it. But some of the raids I've already been in, like in Dead Mines, we've helped each other out. There's like 20 of us. We go through, we clean it out, finish the quest. We have a great time, get some nice items out of the deal. And that's one thing I would love to see in UO. 20, 30, even 40 people getting together and taking on a boss that they know they're all going to work as a cohesive unit and act almost completely selflessly to defeat it. That would, more than likely anyway, in my opinion, bring a lot more people into the game if they see that level of interaction and involvement being required in some cases. Because a lot of people in WoW do it just for that. They'll get to 60 and you think, yeah, end game. No, they'll go do the instances over and over and over. And they have a great time. Of course, there are also gold farmers and item farmers and eBayers, but that happens in any game.
Well, see, that's a very interesting point what you bring up there and everything, because we did have such scenarios where it did require that many people, but a lot of people were not turned on to that fact or to that ideal of those scenarios. For example, if you remember when Britain was invaded by this massive spawn that just kept coming and coming and coming, I mean, that seemed to not be a lot of people's ideal, or, you know, didn't seem to be something that a lot of people liked. However, that's going to lead us to something here in a little bit, which some of the developers have been chatting about maybe doing in the future, which I'll be touching with you guys here in a little bit. So, but before we do, we're going to go to Crescent. Go ahead, Crescent.
Only thing I do find quite easy is doing the treasure maps, believe it or not. As I got a GM, lockpick and GM cartography on a one character, and a bit of peace as well, you can sit there piecing. In the time the next spawn comes out, you've emptied half of the chest, like, you know, you got what you wanted, you got the RT, like, you know, you got your gold sort of thing. You're sort of grabbing some regions, like, you know, grabbing it out of the chest sort of thing. And, by the time you've done half of the chest, like, you're still waiting for a spawn. You know, you probably get little things like, algae gazer or blood ellie, like, you know, but you could kill them within 5 seconds sort of thing. But, you know, you hear these talks, you get these ancient worms keep popping up, you know, this and stuff like that. I've only had 2 ancient worms over level 6 map, which are just popped out sort of thing, you know, over one chest.
Very good point. And let's see, does anybody else have any comments to make about that? Okay, well, you know, basically I was going to tell you that, you know, we was talking about how, you know, for example, I think it was Azric, he was talking about 40-man groups being required to maybe take out, you know, monsters or whatever. But the thing with that is, I mean, we don't really see that with the event moderator groups because, I mean, I think... I haven't seen one yet, 40-plus people. And that's usually due to all the lag it would generate, just having 40 people in one spot. But then again, I guess the West Burton Bank is an exception. But the thing is, you add in the monsters with that, and then it becomes a little bit of a problem. So I'm not sure how successful that would actually be. However, the developers have been talking about on the U-Haul boards about maybe introducing something called a Dragon Invasion every now and then, which is going on Test Center, or did happen on Test Center a few days ago. So, you know, I'm kind of wondering as to how welcoming of the idea which you guys would be of something like that. Would you embrace that kind of ideal to where it would be like a scenario where, you know, for example, one day Luna might be attacked, one day not Great Britain, but Britain might be attacked, so on, you know, it could be any city. No city is no longer safe. So, you know, but anyways, kind of wondering what you guys think about that. I'm sure you guys have probably read up on that just a little bit. Go ahead, Azric.
Well, I would embrace any invasion, anything that's going to drag more than 5 people out of the woodwork. But there's one thing I don't like. The idiot spammers who are demanding event items. I think they should at least get a 72-hour ban the second they spam they want an item. It gets ridiculous. And as far as invading Britain, well, we could invade Great Britain, but I actually have friends living out there, so I'll have to give you a list to spare them.
Some of these people crack me up over here in IRC, but yeah. All right, so anybody else have anything to say about those scenarios or possible upcoming scenarios in which we might be seeing more of in Ultima Online coming later on, maybe this month, I would imagine, or sometime soon to a city near you? I guess not. All right, so let's see. And let's see what I got else here. I got some. Ooh. Okay, now I've seen something that was recent that's been a lot of gripe about, and it has to do with Yo Assist. Yes, it has to do with the Google AdSense on there. Some of you probably know it takes up a lot more space on your screen. So I'm kind of wondering what for all. First of all, I guess I want to go down the list here and just ask whether or not you use Yo Assist in the first place. Deadeye, do you use Yo Assist?
Yeah, I've been using it for years, and yeah, I don't like the screen because of what I do around UORadio. I don't want my taskbar popping back up and down all the time, so I got it up and it's fixed because I've got tabs up and stuff that if something goes wrong at the station or something or whatever like that, I've got to get to things real quick. And my dadgum go button on the thing is down. I can just barely get to it above my taskbar. It's so dadgum big. They overdid it. Now, he's got some ads over there, but he could cut 2 inches off that thing.
Yeah. Well, surely, hopefully he'll get some wind of this and everything, and maybe do something to trim it down. Excuse me, I'm about to belch. Been drinking a lot of tea. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be great if he could trim it down some. I mean, I don't think people have so much of a problem with the buttons or the ads, because there's always been ads up there, and a lot of people is just now realizing that there's ads up there. I mean, good grief, people. There's been ads up there for the last 2 or 3 years. The only difference is one's on the left now rather than the ad rotator that was at the top. I mean, and then somebody also said, well, you know, if anybody's to blame, it's Marquis Dragon, who has pretty much the exclusive rights. And I pretty much made a comment in that thread saying, yes, he does have exclusive rights, but I don't know if that's any longer the case. So I don't know if Marquis Dragon still has the exclusive advertisement rights or exclusive rights to, you know, market the Yo Assist, you know, keys for gold or something of that nature. So I don't know if that's changed or what, but, you know, for all the people that are saying, well, you know, blame Marquis Dragon, I don't know if that's the case anymore. Maybe that's why he had to switch over to Google's AdSense in the first place. So let's just keep that in mind. Go ahead, Deadeye.
Yeah, well, I fully expect that he just pulled around and made his window just a bit too big and his gump a little bit too big, and I figure he'll get feedback to that. And he's generally pretty responsive to what people want. I fully kind of expect here for too long he'll pinch that back a bit. That's all he's got to do. He's got a lot of space. You know, it's bigger than what it needs to be for what he's trying to do. I certainly don't cut the man the deal of anything about adding extra space for advertising. You know, hey, you got to pay for the thing.
Yeah, because, I mean, after all, it is a one-time fee in which you pay once, which is $15. And you never have to pay again. I mean, because a lot of other programs and applications out there, you know, they usually have you pay for it, and then they make you pay for every upgrade, you know, to the application in which you're using. So, I mean, we can either settle for that, or we can settle for the ads. I mean, you don't have to click on the ads or whatever, but it does help pay for the services, for ongoing, you know, services of the whole thing. And as a matter of fact, I've actually encouraged you guys to click on that, so, you know, to put some more money in the pocket, you know, to help keep it up and running, because obviously I would imagine he's having some kind of financial troubles, you know, maybe his advertisers pulled out on him that he had previously or what. I don't know. Hopefully we can get him on here on UORadio in the future and have an interview with him. As I'm sure a lot of people would love to, you know, hear from him again, because I think the last time anybody's ever sat down with him, had an interview with him, was probably with Fear from Battle Vortex. I think that's the last person that ever sat down with him and had an audio interview with him. So maybe we can have him here on your radio in the future and, you know, ask him what's going on with the ads and everything and stuff like that. So let's see who we have here next. Azric, go ahead.
Well, about the ads, I don't mind advertisement if, you know, it's unobtrusive. And I can understand wanting to get more revenue. With only even one person working on it, you have a large time investment, and then you're going to need to recoup compensation for that time. People have to understand that. It's only one little ad anyway. It's not like, there's a bunch of pop-up windows coming up like somebody just spammed your Internet Explorer through a wonderful backdoor like in the WMF file. Now, the only other alternative I could think, if people don't like these ads, start paying more. $19.95 isn't much to pay. Now, if you want to pay $39.95, I'm sure the person who designed UO Assist will gladly drop the ads. Does anybody want to do that? I'm going to wait for responses on that one.
So what kind of response are you looking for, by the way? Say that one more time.
Well, I want to know, do people want the ads, or would they rather pay $39.99 for UO Assist to have the ads dropped? Let them think about that for a while and see what they choose. I'm pretty sure most people will stay with the ads.
Well, I think most people would choose to stick with the ads, but even then, I don't think it would be financially feasible or a smart move on the guy that runs UO Assist part, because of the simple fact it wouldn't be an ongoing generating revenue. I mean, I think the problem he's having here is something that's an ongoing generating revenue, and he doesn't apparently have that because he's only charging a one-time fee for everything. So even on your idea, it'd be a one-time fee to have an ad-free, UO Assist, but still he needs that ongoing revenue to keep the servers up and running. Because yes, you can charge a one-time fee and forget about it, but to keep the servers up to date and keep constantly implementing new things to the program or the application, you're going to have that ongoing revenue. I mean, because the server is definitely not no cheap. And when you have 100,000 people using it and you have to put out an update every time, I'm sure that's going to eat up a lot of bandwidth, just like here at UORadio. And I'm sure people ain't going to be willing to donate. I mean, because a lot of people don't even do that here at UORadio. So, I mean, it's kind of like one of those little hard, tricky situations where you're always in need of money, but you're not going to get it. You can sit there and ask for money all day long, but a lot of people are just not going to do it willingly. So, let's, go ahead, Chris.
You could have things like ads and stuff like on your Assist and stuff like that. But trouble is, having ads on there, they're worried about if it's like spam and stuff like that. Because the last thing you want is your Assist, add in the stuff like that, and you get this pop-up. They actually class it now, even if the slightest fit ad, like on the bottom of ICQ and something like that. I don't use ICQ. I don't believe in a thing like, but they actually class it as spam. That's probably the reason why they haven't put it on there, sort of thing. But I do agree with Deadeye. They should make it a little bit smaller. At least they can knock it down by 2 by 1 or something, or 3 by 1. Like you're using like some people can't afford big monitors and stuff like that. They got a 1,000 or 15-inch, which is 1024 by 800, for instance. It's going to blare in their face, sort of thing. It's going to look real big in their face, especially if it's a low-frequency monitor.
Yeah, and that actually raises up another question here and everything, because I do know, if I'm not mistaken, UORadio, that's actually run by the same guy that actually runs UO Assist, or at least it's all in the same service or server, I would imagine. I'm not sure if that's quite the case, so correct me, anybody out there that's in the IRC room, correct me on that if I'm wrong. However, I'm kind of wondering if the Google's AdSense is on the UORadio. Also, in addition to that, let's keep in mind that a lot of people go out and buy these cheap pre-built computers that are about $300 or $400 here in the United States, and like an E-machine or whatever. And what do they give you with those machines? They usually give you a little 15-inch CRT monitor with it. So I mean, so that would automatically put you in an 800 by 600 mode. viewable mode. So I can only imagine if the thing is almost off my screen in 1024 by 768, I can guarantee you it's off the screen and there's no moving the taskbar to get to it on an 800 by 600 mode. I guarantee you. So, I mean, and a lot of people out there may not be computer literate to know that they need to right-click on their desktop and then go down to, you know, settings or whatever and adjust their monitor settings, and, you know, to make that happen to where they can actually get down there and actually click on it. So we have to be a little bit more mindful of the fact that we don't have a lot of computer literate people that probably play the game, because we do have a lot of people that are still using a mom and dad's pop computer, whatever you want to call it. Pop and mom computer, you know, still very old computers out there that are still playing Ultima Online. I think that's why, you know, in many cases, Electronic Arts hasn't really opted to really renovate the game as much as they would like to. You know, so go ahead. Let's see, Crescent, did you have something that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just to put your point of view in, the Automap does own UORadio as well, so they are partnerships as well. That's the reason why if you go into like your guild chat room, which is on the UORadio AM sort of thing, if you link into there, as you notice, the writing actually coming from the chat is actually coming on your screen as well, on your main display screen. The reason why UORadio is actually bringing that up in there. If you didn't have UORadio, they won't come up anyway. It just stay blank sort of thing. So you end up with this black box popping up and down, up and down, up and down like a yo-yo sort of thing, which it drives you nuts sort of thing. But that's it really.
Okay, so I don't see anywhere in here where anybody's checked the Yo Auto Map, to my knowledge yet, to see whether or not we have to Google those AdSense. But go ahead, Tezrex. What do you have to say?
Well, a lot of people have already mentioned it, which makes it a good point, is this guy's, it's a business for him, regardless. And, you know, you can see people complaining on that particular thread saying he's made millions or whatever, how much money he's made on it. Well, good for him. It's called being an entrepreneur and being a good businessman and going from there. You know, I've had, any time that, you know, EA has updated the client, he's had to come up with a quick fix for it. So regardless if it took him 5 minutes or 5 hours to fix it, it's still time that he's putting towards something that is supporting him of some fashion. So I don't mind the ads at all. I mean, especially when I load it once a day. I mean, let's be realistic. I just leave my client open, and it's loaded up, and then if I reboot, it goes back from there. And the other half of it, which everyone else was talking about, is that screen portion of it, it's already fixed. Just exit out of it, reload it, there's a new patch for it, comes up, and it comes up with normal size. So it's already been rectified, and everyone should have a back to an acceptable size from there. So no, there's no issue to that. No. I don't mind seeing ads at all. I'm not going to click on them. I'm not going to go to them. Now, if they do have an issue, like when Stratix had the issue with some spyware being installed or anything like that, you know, that's a whole other ball of wax. And that's all I have to say on that right now.
Yep. Okay, well, so it has been fixed and everything for the records. And so let's see. The only other thing is a lot of people saying, well, this guy's made $1 million and everything. He doesn't really need all the extra money. He ought to give this away for free, and all kinds of other gibberish out there on the boards. But the thing is, guys, I think you guys are forgetting one thing. Is not only did this guy have to go out and actually, sell his product to Electronic Arts to gain the approval in the first place, he had to actually go out and introduce himself to him, and then he had to actually, make the sales pitch to him, which he was successful at doing, obviously. And in addition to that, he had to bust his butt to even make the application, to make it according to what they wanted in the application. And then he has all these little restrictions in place by Electronic Arts as to what he can put in, what he can't. So he really doesn't have full control over his application as much as he would like to. And in addition to that, there may be some kind of agreement between Electronic Arts and Tugsoft that they have to pay some kind of royalty or some kind of, percentage of the income he makes to Electronic Arts for agreeing to make his application a pro. That is something that you might. Okay, no such agreement exists is what I'm being told here. So So I guess this all goes to him and everything. But keep that in mind. That yeah, that. But anyways, I mean, those are the kind of things you have to keep in the back of your mind. I mean, this guy's putting out a service in which you only pay a one-time fee for. He could have gone a different route. He could have made you guys paid a fee for every time there's an upgrade or every new version of whatever you want to call it, like version 3.0 or whatever, like AOL used to do, but they never charged you. But he could have done that, like some of the other applications out there. But anyways, going back to Deadeye, what did you want to say?
Well, I'll tell you what, in terms of, the guy making money, I'll tell you what, I hope he's made good money, because I'm going to tell you, I've been using that application for years. I love it. Man, it does wonderful things, and it all works. The menus are user-friendly. He has done an outstanding job over the years, maintaining it, updating it in a prompt, timely manner. It does wonderful things. Years ago, I gave him my $19.99, my $20 for it, and I tell you what, I get my money's worth every day, because I fire that puppy up every time I play UO, and it goes to work for me. Does all kinds of groovy things. And I'll tell you what, I hope he makes a bunch of money, because he deserves it. It's a good job.
Yep. And, you have to congratulate the guy being the first one out there to think of such an idea and to actually get it approved by Electronic Arts. I mean, really, if you guys want to think about it, there's so many different ideas out there that you could probably capitalize on. You just have to really put a lot of deep thought into it. You have to go by the book, And, and if you can get in with cahoots with anybody at Electronic Arts, it definitely is a plus, because then you can get their ear and bounce it off them and see what they think about it. I mean, that's how you go about it, because that's what they had to do pretty much in order to get UO Assist Pro. I mean, that's what you really have to do. You have to get out there and sell yourself. So, there's all kinds of unique ways. You just have to really have the really intelligent thoughts to put into it. It definitely requires thought. So, go ahead, Chris.
Going back to the UAM, the bloke he'd actually designed UAssist and AM at the same time, UAM, he hasn't put the map things back on. I reckon he should put the maps back on. I know he had a bit of trouble before, but it doesn't actually take long to relabel them, it takes about 2 seconds. I've done mine within, minutes, You just got to go to one of the websites with the maps on, with the markers on, and just remark them. It's easy as that. The second thing is, there is a friend of mine who plays UO, but he does not use UO Assist, and he's a warrior. And only thing I use UO Assist for is for bandage. But he does champs, and stuff like that. He's still getting twatted by reds, stuff like that, coming out and interrupted with the champs. But he still bandages, he still bandages by a manual, like the case out of his backpack sort of thing. I don't know how he does it, but he is good. He is good at it. He's on the rope at the moment. I've seen him once in action there, and he is really, really good.
Well, that's a very good point that you're making and everything, because I used to be the same way for a long time. I used to refuse to go out and use UO Assist until I heard so many good things about it. And I was like, well, I've never really actually used UO Assist, so I want to give it a try and see just exactly what it's all about. If I'm not mistaken, they actually have a free trial version which you can actually use for like a week or something like that, where you can actually use some of the abilities and test it out and see whether or not you like it. And then once the trial expires, you can then make up your mind as to whether or not you want to go out and purchase it. A lot of people don't know about that, or I guess they overlooked that little aspect, because I guess in this case, Crescent, if you really wanted to, I don't know if your friend knows about exactly how good UO Assist is, but that free trial for me at least hooked me, and that's when I said, well, you know what? This is actually worth $15, and it's being a one-time fee, definitely worth it. So I went out and actually purchased it, and it was a great deal for me at least. And so that's when I made up my mind I was going to purchase it. And I've been with, let's see, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago that I actually purchased it. Back in, I think it was 2001 or 2002, somewhere around there. So, I've been using it for a while. and I think the guy's actually been going up on his rates in which he charges new clients that are using UOSys. So I think the rates went from like beginning in around $10, and I think we're all the way up to $15. It's definitely not that much, but then again, you have to count inflation and stuff like that. But just something to think about. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, he did brought it once. He did actually pay for it and bought it, but he didn't like it and uninstalled it again. I just don't like it. And in IRC, I noticed EasyO, good old script software. Used it a couple of times, whoops, I shouldn't say things like that. But I was talking to a GM because I got called up because I was macro mining. He said to me, EasyO is not illegal yet. Long as you're attended on your PC, you could actually use it. Long as you're there to talk to somebody, you're okay. But if you're not, you will get dragged up and you will get banned. That's the only thing. This is straight from the GM itself.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the problem, and that seems to be an ongoing problem. Not that we condone it here at UORadio or anything. It's actually a legal program. Shouldn't be used. It's it's one of those situations where some GMs will take action, but it's not really. It's kind of one of those tricky things. It's where it really is illegal to use, but they can't prove it. So, as long as you're a tenant, it's kind of hard for them to actually remove you from the game. Because I do know there's a lot of players out there who do use this program in which you named and everything, which I will not name again, by the way. But the problem is that, you have people out there using it that are also attended. And there's also, they're using it in combination with another bunch of programs, in which I won't name either, which they go out to these places which I've raised hell about on the U-Haul boards, which some of you may recall. It's about the dread spiders. I posted something about, international scripters hard at work or something of that nature, screenshots included. That was my thread in which I started over there on U-Haul. And basically, if you looked in that thread, you would see all these different shards in which you had these people farming dread spiders all in the same location on all these different shards. And the problem with that is that these people are attended, but they're using several different clients, multiple instant clients, where you can run UO on more than once on your PC, on one PC, that's right. And the thing is that the GMs can't really do anything about it. So what have they done since then is that the quality assurance team has caught wind of this, and they've actually disabled the dread spider spawn. A lot of people are like, that was a terrible move on EA's part. That's the only, and some are even questioning if that's the best they can do in response to this problem. I think until we see something like the Warden, which is, the Warden program, similar to what Electronic Arts has, or a Punk Buster program put in place, I don't think we're ever going to see the end of that program being exploited, because, really, it's not meant or sanctioned by Electronic Arts, and it's not really supposed to be used by the player base. It does give an unfair advantage. In most cases, a lot of people abuse it. And so, it's one of those situations where, it's automated and can be automated, and a lot of people are using it for that sole purpose. And that's where it becomes a problem, because you then have issues with a bunch of gold entering into circulation. For example, as I was saying about these dread spiders, they was farming these places 24/7. Several days a week, just about every day of the week. And so in a day's time, they would generate about 7 million gold. And, they may have been there and they may have not. So, let's think about this for a minute. If they're doing this on several different shards, in a week's time, we have billions of gold entering into circulation on all these different shards. So, just think about all that. And that's where it becomes a real problem, because you're just dooming the economy all to hell by either, casting a blind eye to it. You're just saying, to hell with the economy, I don't care about it, or something of that nature. That's why I would love nothing else but to see Electronic Arts address this issue as quickly as possible whenever it becomes appropriate for them to do so. So I guess I'll go ahead and get some feedback on this and everything, but go ahead, Deadeye.
Hey, I got an idea. Maybe you could approach Electronic Arts. Maybe we could put together instead of like the Texas Rangers, the UORadio Caesarian Rangers. We could all go out every night and kill the scripters, carry the big iron.
Well, see, the problem with that is, and everything, is a lot of people say, well, that shouldn't be something that Electronic Arts should have to monitor and everything. But the thing is that, yeah, I guess technically you could go out and kill all these scripters and everything, but the thing is they're going to be right on back here, 10 minutes later, and they're going to be doing the same thing. And in addition to that, you're only trading gold from one hand to the other. Same thing with insurance, That's why I don't like the insurance idea, because it just simply moves gold from one hand to the next. And I've never really liked that whole idea, the whole concept. And that's the same thing with the whole scripters. You're just simply moving the gold from the scripter over to a legitimate player that's out there PKing, getting player justice. But where's the justice if they keep continuing to do it? There is no justice. So, really, that's the problem here. So, that's the problem with a lot of regards to the whole scripting. A lot of people are like, well, you're just a big baby, for going out there and busting all these scripters. Well, don't you care about the economy? I have to wonder, why are these people so defensive, of these other players who are actively scripting and knowingly violating something that could potentially be abused? Why are you supporting them? And that's what I don't understand. I can't understand why people would openly support the activities of something that could be deemed as illegal, that is really deemed illegal by Electronic Arts. So let's go to Azric now. Go ahead.
Okay, you mentioned Warden EXE. Now, I'm the WoW player here, apparently, and I'll just say this much. I love it. I have even deliberately fired up the client with a known scripting program in the background, but dropped the client right into the trash. Now, it's the only way I'm going to even begin to believe that EA is going to be able to get a handle on the scripters. Warden EXE clones. Now, I know Cal, our wonderful cinema news manager, doesn't like that, doesn't like the spyware. Look, it's not spyware. It is another layer of insurance, and all you Siege players, stop yelling about insurance, I'm not talking about that. But it's another layer of insurance that protects the legitimate players. Now, in WoW, there are gold farmers out there. They make like 25 to 50 cents an hour out in mainland China. And they just farm it constantly, eBay it. They have scripting programs available to them that for a time do circumvent the Warden. And it's destroying the WoW economy. I see people wanting to sell items for like 600-700 gold. And the base unit is copper. So 100 copper for 1 silver, 100 silver for 1 gold. And the auction houses in-game will not allow you to price over 300 gold. But the economy is getting so trashed, thanks to the farmers, people have to sell it in the trade channels themselves. Now, Warden has significantly slowed down this BS. With that active, it's been a godsend. Without it, I'd be seeing people spamming cheap items, like crap items for 200 gold, and the good ones probably go for like 2,000, which is ridiculous. It's close to 20 million UO at that point. And I'm not going to pay 20 million for a Taskmaster axe at any point. That's one of the quote-unquote blue weapons in WoW. Heck, I couldn't even get 50 silver for it, but that's another story. With the economy being destroyed, it's going to go up. Now, Draconi, I know you're an IRC, and I hope to God you're listening. Hop on the dev team. Please hop on them all. Pound them. Hire ninjas if you need to. Get us a surefire tool for ditching easy UO. And I'm sorry if anybody doesn't want me mentioning it, but that's what it is. It's garbage. We need to get rid of it. And I am going to private message you, Draconi, with a certain website that gives a wonderful list of UO exploits and how to achieve them. So you can pass it on to your buddies over at EA. And I hope that you guys will do your best to take action against it. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. My meds aren't doing anything for me anymore. Straterra's garbage.
Well, that's pretty funny and everything because actually I think because Draconi used to be a player like many of us and everything. I'm sure he's pretty much aware. I knew Draconi as a player and everything. I do know he was much like a merchant like I am and everything. So I think the economy issue is one of those things that are close and dear to his heart, just like myself and everything. In addition to that, let's see. I think he's pretty much aware of all those. I think anybody at Electronic Arts knows about those little hacker sites or whatever, those exploit sites. I think those are no secret to anybody. So those are really known issues or things that are widely known at Electronic Arts. However, I don't know if that little disclaimer or anybody that's from Electronic Arts cannot visit this site. I don't know if that really prevents them from going to it. So I'm not sure what the legal ramifications are on something like that or the surroundings around something like that. But obviously the website which you're referring to, which I know about, which we won't mention by the way, yeah, they have some kind of disclaimer about that or some kind of legal notice about that, obviously because they know they're up to no good. Same thing with EZEO. They know they're pretty much up to no good. We even discussed the idea of maybe potential legal lawsuit or action against EZEO. Oops, I said it. But I know I said it. I wouldn't say it, but it slipped. But yeah, yeah, I don't know if Electronic Arts can really do that either, considering the fact they're really manipulating their game or whatever, the game mechanics. But yeah, those are something I wish, but then again, somebody's made the argument saying, oh, well, they just moved to a third world country. And a lot of people, and here's another argument I like to make. A lot of people say, well, just let them do it anyhow, because once they do ruin the economy, they'll leave the game. Not entirely true, folks, because I'll tell you why. They can continue to do this for an ongoing period and never have to leave the game. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because once they do ruin the economy, they will still be making a good rate of income considering what they make in their own native country. I'll tell you that. People who are making 25 to 30 cents a day in mainland China, I guarantee you, if they can even get anywhere near that or even slightly more than that, they're going to continue to do it. Even when gold gets down to $1 per million, it's still going to continue to be exploited to hell and back. That's never going to be an issue that goes away, unfortunately. So, I mean, that's always something that we're going to have to be keeping on top of and everything, because by then you're going to be paying 100 million gold for a house somewhere, and do you really want to be putting 100 million gold into a trade window just to be able to purchase a house somewhere or purchase a weapon in what you need for PvP or something of that nature? Because that's really what it's come down to, folks, by just simply casting a blind eye and say, well, why you guys being a big baby about this and stuff like that? Because that's what is happening, folks, is that you're going to have to pay more gold, you're going to have to go out there and make more gold, and I guarantee you're going to spend a lot more time farming these monsters to get the gold, which is only in turn going to encourage more people to use such programs as this to get the gold in the first place. So, I mean, it's just only further complicating the problem overall. Because, I mean, the new players, if they catch wind about it and they're going to say, well, I don't like the idea that I have to spend this much time in the dungeons to get this much gold in order just to purchase this. You see where the problem's headed? Because that's where the game's headed if we don't address the economy issues and everything. So it's a disaster waiting to happen. It's already happened, but it's just going about to blow up in our faces before long. So I really do hope that maybe one day soon we will really start seeing gold sinks and everything, because even once the problem is corrected, it's still going to be a problem, because we're going to still have all this gold that we need to get in, that's been put into circulation by such programs as this, and we're going to have to somehow remove it through some clever ideal or something of that nature. That's why last week I proposed the idea of maybe having the NPCs to where you could actually hire them to do extra functions, for example, automated functions, For example, somebody's at the Washington UO Town Hall meeting, for example, suggests the idea of having the NPC veterinarian maybe res their pet or something like that. Well, can you imagine paying $5K to have that done whenever nobody else is around? That way you have an option to whether go to a player, get it done for free or cheap, or have the option of going and actually, whenever nobody is around, going to the NPC and getting it done rather than waiting the next day. So, I mean, those are the reason I suggest the ideas last week for something like this, because then it would introduce another gold sink, which would actually help the economy later on. Let's see, who we're going to go to. Deadeye, go ahead.
Oh, well, first off, I wanted to mention that I went and got a nice bar of soap, and it was originally for Gresham because he said the name of that awful program, but it seems like that now you and him are going to have to share, so I want you boys after the show to go out and promptly wash your mouths out for soap for saying that. But anyway, actually, I wanted to address one thing you were saying earlier. It's kind of a ways back, but you said something about people won't get behind doing something about the scripters, and I can tell you why they won't do it. It's because they're too busy going out on eBay and different boards and stuff and buying the stuff the scripters are producing because they don't want to have to go get their boards and their gold and their ingots and all that, everything else the scripters are selling and marketing everywhere the hard way. And that's why, yeah, we think scripters are bad, but we like having that groovy supply of stuff we can go out there and buy and don't have to work our rear end off for.
Yeah, and yeah, you know, actually I have another idea or something that I can't understand why. For example, if you guys remember a little while back about whenever I think Modane's Legacy came out and everything, they had the gems in which they introduced, which you could actually dig up and stuff like that. Well, I can't understand about that whole idea and everything. Why didn't they take the gems from the jeweler shop and actually make those gems something that you could use to make all these little special items and everything? That way you could actually have a demand for these types of jewels rather than having, you know, fashion wear, you know, made of it. Why couldn't you have, you know, made some use of the jewelry items like the ember or the amber or whatever, or the diamonds and stuff like that? Why do we have to go out and make a whole new set of gems and everything? That's why I couldn't understand. But you know, because then you would actually have a demand, you would actually have a use to actually go to this NPC jeweler and buy these gems from the NPC, and it would actually create maybe another gold thing, possibly, and another circulation where it goes in and out, rather than, you know, constantly in. But go ahead, Crescent, I know you've been waiting for a while.
Hey, about time too. Okay, another thing I was going to say, cheers for Deadeye for going to wash my mouth out, but I'm going to rename it now. Right, this easy, reason why you should not use it, there is a slight bug with it. I've noticed it straight away. It's a good job I did, because simple reason why, I took my war out and do some looting, so I wanted some quick gold, and as they say, but I noticed it straight away, it disables your insurance. So if you're like me and you got millions and millions and millions and pounds of artists on him, on your character, well, just be careful, because simple reason why, there is a bug in the scripts where it disarms or disables your insurance on your artist. I even lost blessed stuff as well, believe it or not. Even blessed stuff I lost. Well, I didn't actually lose it. I noticed it a bit quick. And what it does, it sends a bug to your character, so it disables the insurance or anything else. So when you actually die, right, the monster will pick it up, obviously. And they know straight away if you're using it or not, because it sends like a thing in there, like, you know, I don't know what they do with it, but there's programming for you. They basically go and kill a monster, and wait, what? They've got millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of artifacts stuck on the monster. They're laughing, you know, they're laughing. What are they going to do with that artifact? Sell it on eBay, you know, UORadio site there, you know, they're laughing. So if you do use it, just be careful. Keep an eye on your armors and your jewelry, because it will disable insurance goods.
All right, so basically, what Crescent is telling you is if you're using a cheat program, keep on your program, on your armor and stuff. So yeah, that's what I call player justice and everything. That's actually a good idea. They ought to go out there and make a script say, hey, this is what it does, and then you go out and use the script, and it drops all your stuff to the ground and everything, and everybody just gets it, and you're saying like, whoa, Debbie, what? And you're just saying like, what the crap happened? Yeah, that's definitely player justice. But yeah, go ahead, Azric.
Oh, I lost my train of thought.
He's a bad boy, by the way.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought, man. Oh, sorry about that, everybody.
But get to the point.
The ADHD meds are no longer working. All they do is drop my blood pressure and make me irritable. Plus I get like cold flashes on the left side of my chest and my left hand tingles. I'm quitting those meds. I'm quitting those meds. I'm going to...
Okay. And did you want to make a point about whatever else that we're talking about?
Well, in regards to the scripting, now, I agree with Deadeye on the one point. We should, if we actually want to try and save the economy, go police these areas in wherever. As long as you can PK the person, do it. I know, so we're going to say it's harassment. And I personally would even go so far as to lure monsters. But that's because I'm evil. It's a fun thing. Hey, I play a necromage. We're allowed. Plus, I also have a wonderful provoker. But, look, everybody, I want to ask you this. All the people in IRC are probably going to chime in. If you see a scripter, will you, A, page a GM, B, PK them if you can, or C, lure a monster? Because I always want to hear how many people are willing to go out of their way to try and stop these... No, I said what I was about to say about scripters. There'll be a long series of beeps here. But if anybody really wants to go ahead and stop these people, tell me what you would do in IRC. I want to see this.
All right. And so, all the people out there that want to, chime in on that, go ahead and do that now. Just press 9 if you... But, yeah, you get the idea. But anyways, I'm having too much of a good time with this. But, yeah, go ahead, Deadeye.
Hey, I got an idea. I wonder if we could use the same illegal program, turn around and write a script for your character where every time the scripter pops back in, you kill him again.
Yeah, that actually be kind of funny, but yeah, we're too evil. But see, this is what's going to happen and everything is that you're going to have people that know a certain person in Ultima Online is using these illegal programs and everything, yet they're going to page a GM, and the GM's going to say, sorry, well, I can't do anything, I can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, and so I can't really take action. You're going to get frustrated after about a week or two of doing this, paging a GM, get no solution to the problem, and then you're going to have people learn, for example, in Trammel, that where this might be going on as well, because we know it already takes place in Feluca because of double resources, but what happens if they get discouraged and decide they're going to do this in Trammel now, which it does happen in Trammel as well. Then you're going to have people that get frustrated and take matters into their own hand, lure monsters onto these other players, and then you're going to have people that, do whatever kind of harassment to make their life a living hell because they're not only cheating. So in a situation like this, what do you have happen is that you have them, the scripter, calling a GM on you because you're ruining their scripting experience, and then you're going to be the one banned. And then you have a legitimate player being removed from the game or having a slap on his wrist because he did something that was, what the GM should have been doing in the first place. So, I mean, it's a really complex problem here in which I would like to see Electronic Arts address. And, I mean, it's this kind of problem is going to continue to ensue until somebody gets out there on Electronic Arts end and devises up a plan to address this problem, and with some kind of effective solution. another thing is that what I would encourage all you guys to do out there, if you're looking to get rid of these scripters and everything, find that thread in which I started, and I guarantee you it will be a useful thread to you in the future. If you would like to see these kind of activities, and you think anybody's doing any suspicious activities, take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of that illegal activity which you suspect, and put it up on that thread. And I guarantee you somebody might eventually read that thread and see that screenshot and all these familiar locations and actually do something about it. Because I guarantee you, if enough people make a fuss about it, something will get done about it. So, I mean, if you think it's a problem, you see suspicious activity, either write GM reviews at UO.com or put a screenshot up in that long thread that's about 8 or 9 pages long up on U-Haul, and I guarantee you somebody will see it or read the email and do something about it eventually. Guarantee you. So, I mean, if you're looking for some kind of solution, do that. I guarantee you it'll work. Let's see, or possibly will work. Let me put it that way. Let's see, Crescent, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going over the last statement there with Azrek. What should we do? Either pecan or launder some things? Well, this is answer your own answer with Gresham. I've got a tamer. Go and tame yourself 3 white worms and put them in the area. Then release them. Goodbye, Mr. Auto Miner.
Yeah, very good solution, but, then some people say, oh, well, you purposely did that, you lured them on me, la la la. I don't know if you could actually get away with that one, but that does sound like a great idea. I actually love it. Oh, evil me. Yes. But yes. And Azric, go ahead.
Look, if you're going to be evil, you got to get the laugh down.
Hey, you might want to throw in a background or two,
Well, I have the simple solution for, taming and releasing pets. Mr. Shaggy, my tamer, uses jewelry to hit his 120 cap. He's got a 30 set on. Get a fire steed. Take your jewelry off. Wait till it goes wild. Recall out as quick as you can. Oops, my jewelry somehow came off. Wink, nudge. That'd be the easiest way.
You know what even sounds like a better idea is just take your little hungry dragon that you so badly neglected and just take him with you and drag him through that gate and then pop out and then hide, and when he gets really hungry enough, he'll see dinner waiting for him.
Oh, that was
go ahead, Isaac.
Now also the little quote about making a script to auto PK the scripter. I know the Alexa subs in the scripting language. I could do that. The only script I've ever actually used is to, go through all my jewelry. Hey, devs, listening, we want jewelry boxes that are searchable. Oh, I got over 400 pieces in one house.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move away from that topic and everything, because I think we've already beat it to death. So we got about 15 minutes remaining, and we're actually going to quickly cover a few other things over here. As you very well know, the people over at Electronic Arts, which we made a big old fuss about last week, they seem to have fixed the UO.com guild rosters and everything. I mean, getting up to the point where it's up and running. But the only problem now is that it's not updating. I don't know if that's changed since then. Tezrex, have you by any chance to see if the numbers have updated themselves by any chance for you or not? And if not, could you check on that real quick for me?
No, it's still the same setup at 6 people when it should be higher.
Okay, so, for all the people at Electronic Arts that might be listening into this little recording later on, or this broadcast, give it a little look. Make sure come Monday or whenever you go back into work, give it a little look and see what's going on with the query system, because obviously it's not updating the information. We could use some updated information, so it's good that we have people at Electronic Arts that take a very fond passion of fixing things, and good to see that it's up and running. But hey, we need the query to start, performing its queries like it should. So let's get that fixed, guys, and hopefully we'll see something about it next week that it starts fixing or working properly as it should. Let's see if we have any comments here. Nope, no comments about that. So let's see. Next thing, I don't know if it's going to be done in 15 minutes or not. What we're going to discuss on the ghost cams and the exorcism spell. Whether or not you guys think it's effective or not. And what do you think it should be, an area effect spell rather than a short radius? I'm not sure how quite that works. Do any of you guys use exorcism or familiar with exorcism and how it works, or what? Because I think it ought to be an area effect spell rather than some kind of I guess you look and then you see a ghost and then you cast a ghost out or something of that nature. So I don't know. Azric, tell us a little bit about what you know.
Well, with exorcism, it's not really an area of effect spell, and it's not targetable. Basically, if you can see the ghost on the screen and the ghost is pretty much within sight of the altar, you cast it, and typically the ghost gets kicked off the sub-server. Now, what I would like to see with exorcism is that it is, 1, targetable, and 2, works anywhere on the champ spawn's particular sub-server. So if I see a ghost running from 5 screens away on my necromage, I can go, be gone. Unless it's, one of my own guildies trying to get back to get rezzed or something. But basically, if the ghost isn't within the screen of the altar, within sight of the altar, exorcism is not even going to work. You just cast it and they poof if they're near, they don't if they're not.
Okay, so let me understand this. Do you have to have something like spirit speak in order to properly use exorcism, or people are people looking for a way to eliminate spirit speak and just be able to remove ghosts altogether? Could you explain that one to me, Azric?
Well, I believe you need 95 or even GM spirit speak to use it, but you made a good point. I would like it that if you didn't get rezzed within, say, 5, maybe even 10 minutes, that you would be kicked off the server automatically, or that if you log out on the sub-server of a champ spawn, you're automatically kicked to the nearest town healer. That'd be perfect. We wouldn't need the exorcism. Because all these people do, they have an automated script from that wonderful program that logs them in, checks who's there, and the script can even count how many white and red candles there are and alert you audibly. I would love to see people get kicked if they log off dead on a sub-server with a champ spawn. That would eliminate that particular script. It would also eliminate the need for exorcism in the first place.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Right now we have people logging in for, just a quick, log in and then log right back out, I would imagine. And then, so they got 5 minutes of timeout, and during that 5 minutes, that's the only time you can bust them and actually remove them. So a lot of people are just logging in just to, have a peek and then logging out, and then after 5 minutes they time out and they're no longer able to be removed by exorcism. So I guess in a lot of ways, would it be more helpful if Spirit Speak automatically kicked in rather than actually having to use skill? Just having the Spirit Speak skill, it automatically makes ghosts appear to you. Because you see nothing but ghosts. As that one movie would say, I see nothing but ghosts. Or whatever, that kid or whatever. But anyway, go ahead, Azric. Is that what you're ideally looking for or something of that nature?
Well, ideally, I'm looking for that, not, the whole 5-minute timeout thing. I'm looking for the instant you legitimately log out. There'd be some extra work server side to see if you were kicked or something, lost connection. But if you legitimately log out, I would love for the ghost to automatically be kicked to a tram town healer. That'd make it perfect. But basically that's what the script does. The character logs in on the quote-unquote ghost cam, it'll run them with inside of the altar, and then it'll do the quick head count, candle count, and run them right back off screen and log them out.
Yeah, see, and thank you for correcting me, J-Rock. I see nothing but dead people, or I see dead people. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, but, I think that would actually be a great idea. I mean, it would have to be either one of the two, if you're going to have spirit speak, automatically have them appear, in other words, the skill is always enabled, so you always see ghosts or something of that nature. That would definitely be a helpful tool of something of that nature. Let's see. And, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a Necro Mage myself. I do take her on champs and stuff like that. The minimum spirit speak you need is GM. Obviously, the actual skill for transporting them to a different local res point, as Azric said, town or anything at, is actually 70 for the actual skill itself, but is a very good very good tool to use, very good spell to use. I use it quite a lot when I take her out to champs and stuff like that. They don't know what they're doing, sort of thing. But I've actually used a dead ghost myself in Minak's base there. Keep an eye on the seagulls, sort of thing. So there is a reason why they do it. They're just keeping on. But I did it for a different reason. We was taking over the world, basically. We had all 8 of the seagulls there, and I wanted to keep an eye on them, basically. So instead of having a faction person there, just go and get twatted anyway. So I just had a ghost there, which he was permanently dead, basically. He didn't have no name or any. Well, he did have a name. He just said ghost. That's all he had,
Yeah. Well, see, I never even really thought about it from a faction perspective, so whenever the developers start looking at it from a faction perspective, I think they're going to have some kind of problems with people using dummy accounts or secondary accounts to basically log in and see if the sigils are there and whether or not they're catchable or stealable. And so in this case, I guess the developers need to be giving some thought into that as well, because it's going to be a situation similar to that of the champion spawn, where they're going to have pretty much the same problem and have a need for exorcism there as well. Although you can already do that right now, I think that probably needs to be revisited in the future to, eliminate any other problems that might not quite be addressed yet with the exorcism, now that we have had some time to actually use it and experiment with it. So go ahead, Chris. Did you have something else that you want to add to that?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows a rope at all. A little red guild called the AI, which they used to be little devils. They used to use it themselves. Then we got a bit friendly with them, which is quite handy. They still have their ghost there in our champs. We say, they say to us, where's the ghost? Where's the champ going to be? Say, right, to seat. Right, just hold on a minute. So they send in their ghost in. And as soon as we go past the square, we say help, past the square. They see it, they come down and help us, and they just sit there and help us, like the NDKs and things like that, the other reds that used to come there, which is not only AI sort of thing. They used to be the powerfulest reds around, the hardest ones as well. But unfortunately, they're not in the game anymore. So, but it is really good for the factions. Being honest, the ghost, you need a second account. The ghost is really good for factions, keeping an eye on your base and factions, but champs and stuff like that, there's no point. It takes the fun out of champs. You got enough problems with the monsters. Never mind about the reds. You got enough problems with the monsters, especially if you're doing the harder champs, like dragons, stuff like that. You're going up against this great big ginormous dragon, which is half the size of your scream sort of thing. Yeah, the last thing you want is dealing with the dragon as well as the red.
Yeah. I guess I could understand that point very well and everything. So, that's definitely something they need to keep in the back of their mind and everything whenever they're, looking at factions, for example, because I do know that's probably on their to-do list at some point in time or another. So, I know Electronic Arts is really serious about fixing a lot of problems in the game, and I do mean a lot of problems, because there's been, like, as they said at one point in time or another, there's been a lot of Band-Aid fixes or something that just, kept it together so it wouldn't completely fall apart. So what they're going to do is going back and removing all the Band-Aids and fixing the problem. So that way, they don't have these problems any longer and actually add more longevity to the game. Because right now it's gotten to the point where, longevity is pretty much going out the door. And they're in a situation where they're at a race against time to fix all these problems. And it's just like, we got to get it done. So just get her done, as they say in the South and everything, just get her done. But anyways, we're just about out of time. We're down to the last 4 minutes here, so I want to go ahead and just go to our closing segment. And we have DJ Deadeye here, so go ahead and say your closing remarks.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up for our talk show today. We'll have one again next week, and hope we talked about some things that interested you. I'm turning around here. I've listened to some interesting topics today, and some good comments from the group here. So anyway, thank you for being here, and I was glad to be here.
Hey, yeah, thank you for being here, and as you probably know, Deadeye's from Sonoma, so thank you for being here with us. Also, just to quickly point out, if you would like to have your little gripe read out here on the radio station during our talk show each week, just be sure to post over on U-Haul and everything. We will be keeping an eye on U-Haul for any gripes or concerns or questions which you might all have, and which we might raise here on your radio and everything, because like I said, earlier in my show, we bring it to the masses, and I hope that, we can get some answers to some of your questions, in which haven't been quite answered or addressed yet. So if you'd like to see your topic here on your radio, just be sure to post over on U-Haul. And yes, that's right, I'm actually giving a plug to Stratix. No, we are not in competition with Stratix, so we're actually trying to work with them, if that helps you guys any. So let's see, we have Azric here from Sonoma as well. Go ahead and say whatever closing comments you might have.
Well, I don't really have any closing comments other than to say that so far I think the entire dev team is doing a great job. And I would like to give one shout out to a fellow Celtic music fan. If you're listening, Grim Omen, well, I'll have more music for you on Monday.
Yeah, be sure to tune in more often, Grim, and hopefully we'll have some great music playing for you on Monday. So be sure to tune in for Hazrick's show for a little bit of Az in the morning, as he would say.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
You got to admit, everyone needs a little Az in the morning.
Yep, I have to agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. So let's see, we have Grissom here from Europa as well, and go ahead and say goodbye or whatever else you want to say to the people out there.
Well, thank you there, boys. Just like to say goodbye, and you will next time catch me on 9 o'clock GMT time, which is UK time, in the morning. But there you go. Okay, DJ Gresham, goodbye.
Yep, and there you have it from Gresham from the UK. Let's see, and you know what? Speaking of goodbyes and everything, we're going to have to play that song. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Boys to men. But anyways, Tanya, we have Tanya here from Europe as well, who's from the UK. And so let's see. Tanya, are you there? Eartha Tanya, are you there? No, I think she's AFK at the moment, so I think she kind of like bailed out on us during the middle of the show. But anyway, she's from Europa, and it was a great pleasure having her here with us as well. And let's see, we had Tesseract here with us from Great Lakes earlier in the show. I think we lost him along the way. Not sure what happened, but hopefully I'll hear from him sometime soon. But anyways, it was great having you all here with us today, and this will conclude episode number 22 right here on UORadio, January 14th, 2006. I think earlier during the show I said 2005. I just haven't quite adjusted over to the 2006. But anyways, once again, thank you for tuning in.